Thank you, Dr. Munger. The 10th Amendment speaks to the heart of the principle of limited government. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution specifically lists or enumerates the powers of the federal government. They include a military, federal courts, etc. The 10th Amendment clearly says that unless a function is specifically listed in the Constitution, it is left for the states or the people. The founders set up a system where there was competition among the states for the best ideas. On any given topic, some states would perform well, some would pass imprudent laws, and some would stay out of it completely, which is my particular favorite option. But there was competition, and competition breeds excellence. Yes, you would have a couple of bad apples, but those bad apples would soon reform under the pressure of competition. It was better than focusing all of the power in Washington and having one huge rotten apple. The top-down centralized government model is a failure, just like it was in the Soviet Union. Sadly, the 10th Amendment has been brushed aside. The federal government has slowly over the years become involved in education, banking, finance, retirement savings, transportation, crime control, health care. The list goes on and on and on. In fact, it is difficult to name one aspect of our lives the tentacles of the federal bureaucracy do not reach. Because government possesses a unique characteristic called the reverse Midas touch, most of that intervention has resulted in making things worse and or creating unforeseen negative side effects. The examples of this are vast. Let's look at one recent example. The federal government shattered the economy and wrecked our savings by putting in place Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, two government chartered firms that are the root cause of the housing bill and our current woes. These institutions were large garbage disposals for risky loans. They were set up as a way to get lower income people into homes they could not afford. The government then bullied companies to make risky loans against their better judgment. These quasi-government entities grew to mammoth proportions and were making huge campaign contributions to members of Congress. This is insane. And now the solution to this debacle is to have the government take over huge swaths of banks and give massive sums of your children's and grandchildren's hard-earned money to auto manufacturers and out-of-control state and local governments as a reward for failure. Our founders were very wise indeed. So what happened? On one hand, we have a well-written constitution that wisely limits the powers of the central government. And here in reality, we have the exact opposite. The erosion has mainly been predicated on the power of the Congress to regulate interstate commerce. This was given to the Congress so it could make sure that one state could not impose taxes on another state. It has been interpreted over the years to mean much, much more. We reject those rulings and believe they should be overturned. Even if someone could find a topic and make a convincing argument that it should involve the national government, the onus is still on them to amend the Constitution. The founders supplied that function to us for a reason. Over the past 100 years, supporters of big government knew they could not muster the political strength necessary to get their agenda through the amendment process, so they found another way. They appointed and approved justices to the courts who accepted the extraordinary interpretation of the Constitution in their favor. We've all heard the Constitution is a living document. That is complete nonsense. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights are written in plain English. We know exactly what the founders meant. It is unacceptable that we have allowed big government proponents to take the easy way out, bypassing legitimate hurdles of the amendment process, and simply purport the Constitution means something other than what it clearly says. Ladies and gentlemen, as we on this day reflect on that which was bestowed upon us, let us realize there are forces that have and continue to undermine that blessing. We already have two grotesquely large government programs that are flagrant violations of the 10th Amendment, and that will bankrupt this country. Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Medicare and Medicaid just became much worse with the addition of free drugs for seniors. Add to that the foolish proposal to treat carbon dioxide like a dangerous pollutant instead of what it is, plant food. And the recent bailouts and takeovers, and I think you can see the situation is dire. The time to act is now. Like it or not, we must become politically involved. When you are evaluating candidates for public office, ask them, do you believe that the Constitution is written in plain English and means what it says? Or is it okay for the national government to be meddling in education and health care? Ask them for their stance on the horrid McCain-Feingold legislation that limits political speech. Demand a straight answer to the question, will you work to reverse the perversion of the meaning of the term public use that has allowed local governments to take our home and our land for unscrupulous purposes? Ask them, what federal monstrosity will you eliminate? Today, the Bill of Rights is 217 years young. And I say young for a reason. We who espouse the virtues of individual freedom, personal responsibility, and limited government have been accused, sometimes, of living in the past. Or just wanting to take us back in time. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. As a matter of fact, it's the exact opposite. Remember what I said about our long human history. And think of it in that context. Before the United States, there were kings, despots, even democracies, all which violated freedom of individuals. Now there are new types of oppression, communism, socialism, but it's the same thing. Some people enslaved to other people. In the grand scheme of things, the United States and the ascendancy of individual freedom is new, different, exciting, a breath of fresh air and enlightenment. Those who want big government are the ones taking us backwards. Back to a time when people were subservient to the state or to other people. Abridging freedom takes us backwards. Advancing liberty moves us forward. Thank you. Definitely must remain vigilant.